Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 463 of Ink in Your Veins. I'm Rachael Herron, and I'm so happy to be here today with Nikolaus. We have a fantastic conversation about how to celebrate everything. You know, I am on board. And we talk about hyper focus, and we talk about sobriety, and we talk about healing, and we talk about writing as actual medication of a sort. So please stick around. It's a joyful, awesome, inspiring conversation, and I know you are going to enjoy it. What has been going on around here? Work as usual. And it feels good to be back in the flow of things after having most of August off. I started the classes, and I always forget that I don't forget this. I know this. Classes take a lot of energy and they take a lot of time. And if I am not careful, I drop the things that I really need to do, which are my own writing. So as I started these classes this time, I am focusing on not only the writing, which is actually pretty easily getting done. I am working on the copy edits for Seven Miracles of Beatrix Holland, which will be coming out in August of next year. Y'all, this book has taken like 2 years to come to publication after being purchased, or more, maybe 2.5 years. So, but I saw the cover and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And the copy edits should be off my desk in, today or tomorrow. And I'm also working on fixing the fix by October 4th is my new goal. That's in about a month. That would be great. Don't know if I can hit it, but I'm definitely going to try. I'm doing well with finding the deep work in and around teaching. Here's what I want to tell you about. What I don't do well with are the small things that should be done, but don't actually have an element of urgency. An example, more than a year ago, August 2023, we went to the United States. We got COVID. I can't travel when I have COVID because of my autoimmune disease. Could kick off on the plane and then it would be bad for everybody. There's no place to land. So we needed to stay in the States till we were not contagious. And besides, we would have done that anyway. I don't fly with COVID. That was my first and only experience with COVID, knock wood. And we had to extend our trip by a week. We just had to stay in an Airbnb. It was actually pretty great. We didn't feel good, but I just watched TV and read for 7 days. It was wonderful. And we had trip insurance because people who do not live in the United States, who go to the United States, purchase trip insurance because getting hurt in America is a real bad idea. You may have heard. So you have your trip insurance in line and all set up. And I had it. It covered illness, including COVID, in another country. And then it would cover all of your expenses, your food, your lodging, the whatever it costs to change your airplane tickets. More than a year ago, I have been putting off applying for that damn refund. Or I guess it's not a refund, it's a claim, putting in the claim because it required grabbing tons of receipts. And you know, when receipts are harder to find, they're harder to find more than a year later, I got to tell you. But those kind of things, things like getting um, income replacement insurance here in New Zealand, figuring out maybe a better health insurance here in New Zealand. You don't need health insurance in New Zealand, but I am American and I have a little bit of trauma around that. Plus, my body's weird. So I just want the extra insurance, which we have had, but I think we can do better. I'm going to sneeze. God bless the ability to pause recordings. Excuse me. And making a new will, because our will in the United States doesn't hold up anymore. And those kind of things that are really important, but don't have much time pressure on them. I knew trip, the travel claim didn't have an expiration date because she accidentally told me that when I called in to talk about it more than a year ago. She said, and don't think you have any hurry to do this. There's no time frame in which you need to do it. And I heard that as you never need to do it. So anyway, these kind of things pile up and they make me feel very drowning-ish. And then my friend Mariah told me about this service. It's called Boss as a Service. Boss as a Service. That's the name of it. BAAS. Boss as a Service. And for $25 a month or $20 a month if you sign up for the first 3 months, they tell you what to do. The rebels of you are screaming and hurling the idea out the car window right now. I know that. I'm not a rebel. In Gretchen Rubin's Four Tendencies, I am an obliger. Not even an upholder. I'm almost an upholder, but I'm really an obliger. I will do anything for anyone. I will do it if somebody expects it of me. It'll always get done. The reason I always do my writing and do my teaching and do the podcasting is because people expect it of me. So therefore, I oblige. Boss as a service is a service where you are in communication with a real person, not an AI, but a real person in India. You develop a relationship with. You tell them what your goals are for the week or for your life or whatever. I'm doing it week by week. And they send you a nice email every day checking in on you. And they're very nice. But I missed doing something I said yesterday. And and Devaya said, "Is there anything you want to talk about it? Was it like because you were tired from teaching, or is there something that you would do differently next time? And, do you want to process why you didn't fill out that one form that you said you were going to fill out?" And then in my heart, I was like, "Oh, I never want her to talk to me like that again, ever. I feel so guilty for not doing the work that I told her I would do." But I had boss as a service for the first week. In the first week, I said by the end of the week on Friday, I would fill out that travel claim. And I did at like 5:15 p.m. on Friday because I wanted to hit it. And it has been incredible to do the little things that I don't get around to doing. And the reason I'm mentioning it, I'm not an affiliate. I don't even know how this will go long term. I've only been using it for 2 weeks. But for me, it has changed everything because as a self-employed writer, I do the things that pay the bills. I don't necessarily do the things I should do that don't pay the bills, that don't have any. Honestly, applying for the travel claim will get me actual money. Thank you. But this may work for an obliger or an upholder. You know if this would work for you. And you're writing. You can say to the person you're in correspondence with at a service like this, I particularly like this service. It seemed to be the cheapest one of these kinds of services that I could find too. You could say, I want to write for 5 minutes a day, 5 times a week. You could set the minimum viable goal and have them follow up with you. And because you know somebody's going to follow up with you and you want to tell them, yes, I did it, you do it. Again, this works for a certain subsect of people. You know if it won't work for you. I told my sister about this and she got angry. She just got full of rage just thinking about somebody sending her an email, checking in to see if she'd gotten closer to her goal. I haven't even really talked to Lala about it very much, but I know that she would react the same way. But anyway, boss as a service, Google it. I'm loving it. It's been pretty great. All right, that's my only update. Oh, my other update is that I am leaving town as soon as all my desk stuff is done. Thursday afternoon, I'm getting out of town. I'm going up the coast to see my sister who lives in New Zealand, Bethany. I'm going to stay with her for a night at her pet sit up on Foxton Beach. And then I'm going to go up to Wanganui and spend 3 days on the river on a writer's retreat. If you've been listening to this for a while, my writer's retreats, I don't normally write. My writer's retreats are for filling the well. They are for deep rest and they are for solitude. I've had no solitude for 6 weeks. None. None. Absolutely none. Maybe 5 weeks. It's still a long time. Well, I didn't even have solitude before that, but I have had the opposite of solitude. I've had much companionship for the last 5 weeks. Here's the thing, though. I have been having plenty of rest. I've been reading a ton. It didn't work on writing in August. So the thing I realized as I was leaving this time, this writer's retreat is not going to be just me reading and writing in my journal, as it usually is. It's going to be me reading, writing my journal, being alone, and also doing deep work. I am missing the deep, deep work time. And also I love revision. And also The Fix, which is the book I am revising right now, is so well revised. It's the kind of revision that you fly through and it feels really good. All the scenes are exactly where I want them to be. I'm zhuzhing. It feels awesome. So I'm also going to work on this writing retreat and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going for deep work and isolation. There's a bathtub. I put 8 library books on my Kindle. I already had 4. So now I have 12 library books on my Kindle and I will probably read 1, maybe 2. But I am ready. I have so many podcasts queued up for the drive. Oh, Input loves My input loves a podcast, and I just can't wait to be there. So I guess that's my full update. And I will tell you how it went next week when we talk. In the meantime, here is our fantastic interview with Allie. Allie Nikolaus is an award-winning filmmaker and author of the upcoming memoir, I'm Gay and Drink Water. Their memoir covers 6 years of their life from the time they were a freshman on the University of Mississippi's soccer team to when they came out at age 24 while living, working, and going to school in Chicago. Alcohol consumption plays a major role in Allie's story. Through trial and error, Allie found that the only way to live as their truest, healthiest, and most creative self was to quit drinking alcohol altogether. Being alcohol free is the best thing they've ever done for their creative process and mental health. Outside of writing and working as a legal assistant during the day, Allie enjoys baking, Pilates, and spending time with friends, family, their fiance, and their puppy, Stella. Allie has a BA in speech communications from Webster University and an MFA in screenwriting from DePaul. Here's the interview. Please enjoy. Please get some of your own writing done and come tell me about it. And I wish you very happy writing. Here we go. Well, I am so excited to talk to you again and have you on the show. Will you please share your name and pronouns with us?
Yes, hi, thank you for having me. My name is Allie Nikolaus. My pronouns are she, they.
So we were just trying to figure out when we last chatted, and it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was still coaching. I don't do much coaching anymore. And we had been talking about your book. Can you tell us a little bit about what has happened between then and now?
I am finally getting ready to publish it. It will be out next month, and it
Yay.
has
And it will be
been,
out by the time this airs because I'm about 2 months behind. So it'll be
oh, perfect,
perfect
great.
timing. So it's out. Congratulations. It's
Yeah, it's
out.
out. Thank you. I'm a published author.
That's fantastic. And tell us a little bit about that journey.
Oh my gosh. The writing journey there's so much that went into it. The draft that will be published is the eighth draft. And I mean, it's the first book that I've written, and it has gone through so many different versions, so many
Mhm.
different styles. I have grown myself as a person since I started writing the book. Yeah, I feel like the book has lived so many lives, as have I, in the last 7.5 years that I've been working on it.
Tell us a little bit of what it's about, the title and what it holds.
The title is I'm Gay and Drink Water.
I love
And
that.
it is, thank you. It is essentially the long version of my coming out story. I have been out for a little over 8 years, and I have been alcohol free for just over 8 years.
Congratulations.
And thank you. I can't believe it some days. I can believe it, but at the same time, I'm like, whoa,
Hmm.
that's a large number. It's a long time.
That's a long time to be alcohol
Yeah,
free. Yes.
it is. So the book starts out when I'm a freshman in college at the University of Mississippi. I played soccer there. And it was a dream come true, except it wasn't shortly after I arrived. I dealt a lot with depression and a little bit of anxiety, and I was also starting to develop feelings for a teammate. So that started to, trickle into my life, and that was a really great positive impact on it. But being in the South as someone who is not typically welcome in that area of America, it was hard for me to navigate all of that. And
Hmm.
it was tough. And I ended up transferring back to my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri, that's where I'm living now. And I ended up transferring to Webster University and playing there. Had no intentions of playing soccer ever again. But it was a saving grace for me. Like, they welcomed me with open arms on that team, and it gave me an outlet to grieve my past relationship, and it gave me a positive outlet to deal with my feelings.
Hmm.
And then, when it all ended, though, I started drinking more and using alcohol as the main way to suppress my sexuality and deal with my mental health, which is not a great thing to do.
Not a great thing
Uh,
to do, but it is a common thing to do because alcohol and other substances, which I also have dealt with, like we use them because they're good medicine. We use them for a long time because they're medicine.
yes,
We're
yeah.
treating a problem. And I'm just realizing
Mhm.
as we're talking, I hadn't even stopped drinking the last time we talked. So
No,
because I've
I didn't
only
even know
been
you were
alcohol
gay the
free.
last time we talked. I was
Yeah,
like, no, I had no idea. And I was like, what a lovely surprise.
that's hilarious. Oh, this is
Yeah.
all great. Yeah, yeah, because I've only been alcohol free for or a little 6.5 years, and clean and sober for 4.5. So yeah,
Awesome. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Okay, so go on. And then
Sure. And I was just constantly running away from my problems, other like outside of using alcohol as my main way to run away from my problems. And I eventually moved to Chicago, which is my one of my favorite cities in the world. And I went to grad school there. And I went to grad school for screenwriting at DePaul. And I was running into some health issues at that time too. And alcohol was the one thing that made everything worse. And it started to negatively impact my schoolwork and my writing. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was just so miserable. Like the more I drank, the more miserable I felt during and after. And I woke up one day and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And shortly after that, everything I had been suppressing for years and years started, the truth started coming up.
yeah, yeah. And then you started writing? Is that about the time you started writing, thinking about starting writing this book? You're already writing, obviously.
Yes, anytime I was going through a hard time, especially during the time that the book is about, I was like, the one thing that kept me going was like, I'm going to write about this someday
Mm,
and it's going to help me and possibly, hopefully help other people that read it. And
mhm.
that was one thing that got me through that time, like knowing that my story would be put in a book someday.
And now it is. And
And
now it
now it is.
is out there and available for people to
Yes.
buy. Can you tell us a little bit about your writing process now? How does writing fit into your daily process now that, this big project is over? Where does writing fit?
I will, hmm,
Might be still
it's a
working on
tricky
that
thing.
one.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Like I've had such a big year. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame at my alma mater. I'm getting
Congratulations.
married. Thank you. I'm getting married. I
Congratulations.
forgot to put my ring on before we got on the call. Thank you. And we just got a puppy too. So life has been very fun and
We had a
busy.
puppy last year, and now we have a dog who's still alive. I will never do it again. Puppies are no freaking, I'd rather have a baby. I swear to God. Like it was so hard.
It is hard and she's a puppy and like she will be trained. We're going on vacation soon. So after we get back from our trip, we'll whatnot. So as far as like my writing routine, I feel like it's going to be completely different, just as it's been
Mhm.
different every year that I've been writing. Like
Mhm.
not, when I sit down to work on a project or part of a project, the writing routine is always different.
I like that. We are always reinventing ourselves. All right. So then
Mhm.
when you think about your writing process and what you have uncovered, what is the most exciting thing you've ever realized about your writing process?
My ability to just zone in and lose time and
Really?
around me. Yeah, I have this when I'm in the zone, it feels like a little superpower where I'm
Uh-huh.
just clicking away at the keys and nothing like there are a few things that feel as good as those writing sessions and like that ability to just like hyper focus.
Does it feel at all like, being in sport when you hyper focus? Does it have anything connection to that kind of flow? Or
I've
is
never
it
put
totally
those
different?
two and two together, but yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I'm always competing with myself when it comes to my writing, even like with
Mm.
alcohol-free life. Like I'm winning that game, which is fantastic. And
Uh,
yeah, I think that writing, that athlete mentality absolutely transfers over
Yeah.
into those writing sessions.
Yeah, I can only imagine that it would. Oh my gosh. So what part of writing then do you struggle with most?
I think the lack of time, at least like right now,
Hmm.
that definitely the lack of time. Like I was used to like in my early days of the draft, like drafting this novel and this memoir, I had so much more time on my hands. And I would have like hours at a time to focus on it and to, pick it apart and rewrite it. And now my writing sessions are very short. I very rarely do I have more than an hour at a time. And that is something I struggle with because I love it so much. And I'm also super impatient and I just want to have more time. But the reasons that I don't have enough time to write right now are pretty good. I mean, I have,
Really good reasons.
yeah, they're really fantastic reasons.
That is awesome. What are you really good at writing wise?
Writing wise, well, that hyper focus thing.
Hmm.
I think I don't, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm really great at it yet, but one thing that I know I've grown over the last 7.5 years with this book, which is why it's taken me so long to publish it, is to dig out those emotions from within myself to put that on the page. Like this
Hmm.
last draft, before it was missing those emotional reflections and that deeper, that depth that the book needed.
And
So that
how could you tell that it was missing? Was that something that an editor told you, or did you know that? Because sometimes that can be hard for us to see ourselves.
I did not see it in the early drafts. And then in the last two drafts before I sent it to my editor, I started realizing it. And then she took it and she told me, I was like, hey, it's missing motions. And she's like, don't worry, I got you. And she took it and she was like, more motion here, more motion here.
Right.
And she gave me questions and like prompted me to get that out of me. And it was phenomenal and annoying, but great.
So annoying. I hate emotions in so many ways, but they're so
Yeah.
useful. They're so useful.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned about putting emotion on the page? What has been helpful to you in actually doing that?
Personally, as a
Mm.
person who has been through a lot, it helped me heal even more.
Mm.
And as a writer, think it also helped me become more descriptive in my work, which is something that like I've always, strived to be better with. So definitely that for sure.
And it is so true that that when the editors point it out, then it can become so obvious. We're like, oh yeah, that
Yeah.
I do need to put in something there, but we just don't see it until they do. How did you find your editor?
I think I found her on the internet. I was looking at websites of different editors and I connected with her in December of I think 22. It's like, hey, I'm not ready yet, but like I'm really, like your vibe. I trust you. And we both went to she went to undergrad where I went to grad school. So we both went to
Mm.
DePaul and we were there at the
Uh-huh.
same time, but just like never really crossed paths. So it's like, okay, that's like a little, universal sign. So I just found her on the internet. Her name is Dana. She's based out of Boston. She's fantastic.
That's so cool.
Mhm.
Good job. All right. So what is the kindest thing that you've ever done for yourself as a writer?
Okay, so I don't know if you remember this, but when we spoke, something that the main takeaway I had from that coaching session all those years ago was you told me to celebrate my milestones, like whether they were just,
Yes.
you hit your word goal for the day or you finished your draft. I wasn't, going on vacation after each draft, but I was definitely
Right.
acknowledging the process, which was challenging at first, but now it's like a habit that I do all the time now.
I love that so much. Celebration has become a habit, which is, I think, essential for so many of us. Some people don't work well with rewards, and we understand that. But if we're just holding out for the day the book is published,
Mhm.
then the day the book is published rolls around, and it doesn't give us everything that we could have been giving ourselves all along for hitting those little milestones. What are your favorite ways to celebrate? What ways have you used,
No,
tried?
it's as simple as like going to my favorite coffee shop to
Yep.
getting my favorite ice cream, all the way up to, going on like taking myself shopping, getting a new
Mhm.
tattoo.
That's always a good one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that right now as a reward for myself. That's fabulous. Celebration. We cannot do too much of it. I celebrate when I am done with work for the day. Like that is, I let myself sit on the couch and read, and that is my reward. I just get to do it guilt free, you
Mhm.
know? Oh, I love that. Um, Tell us about a specific moment that you knew you had ink in your veins.
I was 8 years old, and this was around the same time like I started like truly feeling different, but it wasn't realizing that different meant that I was gay.
Mhm.
And I around the same time I started writing more. Like I started just writing these cute little, really terrible short stories. And I would journal a lot. That's when I started like really get into journaling. Um, but yeah, but I don't think it like really stuck with me that, like it was in me, like in my veins until I was probably in high school when I had teachers point out that, my voice like really came alive when I wrote.
Mm. And that doesn't change. That doesn't go away. We
Oh, we're
know
stuck.
that. And we're
Yeah.
we're stuck with it. So now that this memoir project is almost off your plate, do you have an idea for the next big project? Are you going to continue in memoir? Are you going to try fiction? Go back to screenplays? What are you thinking?
I have some ideas for some. I have a lesbian romance about these two
Fabulous.
women who rekindle their love at a nursing home.
Oh, that's
And
so cute. I
I know
want that.
it's so lovely. It's just lovely, and it just brings me so much joy. I also have a really dark psychological thriller that I've been toying around with for years, but I don't think I'm going to get to those two until I finish the other two memoirs that I have. One is about dogs. It's called Tales, and
That's cute.
a collection of stories that about the time I was a dog sitter for 3 years when I was living in Chicago, and best side hustle ever. And I learned a lot about animals and myself and the people around them. And I'm working on a book about it.
I love that.
And yeah, it's super fun. And I love how different it is from I'm Gay and Drink Water, which is a much heavier book. It's not as light.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so definitely, I think Tales will be my next
That's
project that I
that's
finish.
fabulous. So you are hit by the creative nonfiction bug that is also
Yeah,
not going to go away. Yeah.
it's
Let me
not.
ask you because we don't talk about the sobriety a lot on this show. This isn't a show
Sure.
about being sober, but I had a great interview with Barbara O'Neill not too long ago, and we talked about it. So how do you feel that being sober affects your writing now? How did you see it change, or any way you want to answer that?
Creative clarity is how I would define it. It's such a blessing. It can get frustrating at times because there's so much going on in my head and there's nothing really to numb it or calm it down. So
Mhm.
I'm constantly, jotting things down. So, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a burden because it's not. It's a blessing and it's a talent and a gift. Um, but it is not a light thing to carry with me
Mhm.
most of the time, a lot of the time. Yeah.
That's really interesting because I think a lot about the ways that I personally medicate the overactive brain. And I've always talked about reading as being one of my medications, and it's the medication that's it was my first addiction. It'll be my last
Mhm.
addiction. I don't have any problem with it, but I've never really thought about writing as another medication that I use to self-treat with. And that is
Mhm.
so, so true. If I don't do my morning pages, if I'm not scribbling things down all day
Mhm.
long, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for giving me that. Um, what is the best book that you have recently loved and why did you love it?
Rainbow Black by Maggie Thrash.
I've never heard of it. Tell us about it.
I never heard of it either. I finished it a couple months ago. My fiance and I were on a trip for my birthday, and I was like, I'm going to treat myself to a book at the airport.
I
And
love
I
an
wasn't,
airport book.
I
They
know,
just feel
so do I. I'm
so
so
they feel
different
so
about it.
decadent.
Yeah, there's something, and that book I had never seen before, but actually, I think it just came out or like it was a new release around the time. So I read the back, and I didn't even think I even finished the synopsis on the back because it was, a queer book that covered, several decades of this woman's life. It's fiction,
Mm. Uh-huh.
um, but it was so good.
Oh,
It's a
I
bit of
can't wait to check it out.
and it's very gay and it's a great story. I
I
just
can't
I just
wait.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And speaking of things that we can't wait for, I'm Gay and Drink Water is out now. Where can people find it and you?
On my website, allynicholas.com. It will also be on Amazon, paperback and through an ebook. And I am also on TikTok and Instagram at AllyXXNick. That's ALLYXXNIK.
That's a good one. That's easy to remember and spell. That's great.
I've had that handle forever. So
That's awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. Congratulations on the
thank you.
publication of your first book. May it fly from the shelves. And I am just so damn proud of you. I can't wait to read it. So thank you for being here, Allie. It's
Yeah,
been just
thank
such
you.
a treat.
Your work and your help has made the book what it is.
Uh, thank you.
You
Well,
helped
that's,
me in the early stages, and I will never, ever forget it.
oh, okay. Well, you've made my day. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Welcome.